Have you ever said something and wished almost immediately that you could take it all back and start over? That's what happened to me last week. On last week's episode of Knife AQ, on this week's episode, number 220 of the series where I answer all your questions, sharp or dull, I'm going to fix what I did wrong last week.
So normally I do that in the edit.
Not even you could save me this time, Thomas.
I also didn't want to.
But anyway, folks, welcome to the show. I am David C. Anderson from the KnifeCenter. That is Thomas behind the camera as usual. And last week's episode, we were talking about the best knives made by gun companies, and I messed up. I got kind of.
Would you say you misfired?
I misfired. Failure to feed. Actually, that's not happened anytime real soon. I got kind of one-tracked on my answer and somehow completely omitted some very obvious stuff that should have definitely been in. So we're going to start today's episode with our segment called Measured Once, Cut Twice, where we take a second slice at a previous question. By the way, if you're new to this series, we answer questions and we find them in the comment section below these videos. So drop it down below if you've got a question. Anyway, let's fix last week's topic, shall we? Defender of Poodles says, can't believe I didn't read the name first.
Never do.
Can't believe you didn't mention the Glock field knife. Are you kidding, man? I can't believe I didn't mention the Glock field knife. Come on. This little thing is crazy affordable. It's about 35 bucks. $34.50 right now on the site. And while it was originally, or kind of, it's more like a bayonet than an actual usable knife, but because of the low price and the outright strength of these, folks have used these far outside, quote unquote, combat roles for a long time. I've seen folks using these as survival knives or bushcraft knives, camp knives, hard work knives, whatever. You got a thick chunk of carbon steel here. You've got a durable body overall, injection molded handles here, like the Glock frames, of course, and a low price that just makes it really hard to ignore. And yet somehow I managed to do it last week. It comes with an injection molded sheath. It's nothing fancy, but it gets the job done, kind of like the pistols in that regard. Fun fact, however, these actually predated the pistols. So is Glock a gun company or a knife company? I think it's safe to say they're known for the pistol, so they're definitely a gun company nowadays. They just still make the knives that came before. Like I said, I can't believe I forgot these either, you guys. These things haven't gotten enough love on this channel over the years. Actually, that's because we only recently brought them back in stock. We did not carry these for a while, so I'm real glad we do yet again. Check them out. They're pretty awesome, especially for them. I mean, if this was a $100 knife, it wouldn't have nearly the same kind of cachet or the same, good feelings about it. But at less than 35 bucks, hard to beat, man. So thank you, Defender of Poodles, and the many folks who pointed out immediately, like this, it was like the second comment on the video. Someone mentioned it, and I smacked my head so hard, which is not good because it was a Saturday when the video comes out, and I was at home. And
I'm sorry I missed that.
Luckily, I didn't do it hard enough to need medical attention. Next, Walt Cord. My dudes, what about the Remington bullet knife, especially the version where Great Eastern Cutlery was the OEM? Yes, 1,000 times yes. Absolutely this should have been my answer. Traditional slip joints. The Remington Silver Bullet series has long been, gosh, I could have done a history lesson deep dive and figured out when they started making silver bullet knives, but it's been going a long time. Most recently, before these, the latest generation, Buck Knives was making the Remington knives. After that, they've made some higher priced and some lower priced versions of the silver bullets, but my favorites are absolutely the GEC made models, including this one right here. This is the 2023 model called The One That Got Away. It comes in about 200 bucks, but this is as good as traditional slip joints get. If you're balking at that price, just know that this is kind of the pinnacle of the art form unless you're getting into like true custom work. GEC makes phenomenal stuff. Ah, man, you got the sterling inlay on there, carbon steel blades in this case, precisely ground, awesome saw cut style bone on this. Great snap. Some of the early Great Eastern Cutlery stuff was, I think, like too heavily sprung. They've since really dialed it in to have just exactly what you want out of the feel, the haptic feel of a classic slip joint. So yes, 100%. Take your pick of any of the GEC made models. We had the 2022 model was really cool. The Cowboy Granddaddy Barlow, I really like that one. So that's the only downside with like selecting this as a potential option, is because they are kind of limited, and they're not going to be the same next year when they make the next one. So that said, well deserving, considering, with that caveat. So that brings us to now the point where I revise last week's list, and Hogue, who was kind of like my one-track answer last week, absolutely deserves the third spot. I'm sort of debating which one should get it. The injection molded versions of the Deca with Magna Cut blades, unbelievable value and a great knife as well. About $140 regular price. They also make the SIG knives, including our exclusive version of the K320 Magna Cut blade with aluminum handles for about $162. Both of them are great values. I'd argue the SIG is definitely nicer than at least the injection molded versions of the Deca, and I mean, it's $22 difference. That's it for the bigger knife, the aluminum handle scales. And SIG, see, I was all ready to give it to the Deca just because of the great value of this. But SIG, I guess, is actually a knife or a gun company, whereas Hogue is a gun accessory company. So by default, we'll give it to the Hogue, I guess.
You just didn't want to give it to a reverse Tanto.
Actually, that has nothing to do with it this time, Thomas. Give me a little bit of credit.
No, I'm going to be on the message boards tonight.
I mean, everything about this is a Hogue except for the name. It was designed in-house by the Hogue team. It uses, well, it's a Hogue. What can I say? Even though it's a SIG. So double whammy there. But actually, while I struggle to see if I can pick up 3 knives at once, I do have 2 hands, so we can do that. I like this as a top 3. Should I revise the question? The question was the top 3 gun company knives. I like this because not only does it represent a pretty broad swath of the different types of knives out there today, it also kind of, the personality of each of these reflects kind of a lot of the big personalities in the firearm world. You got the old school, old fashioned stuff, modern, the plastic fantastic type of stuff like the Glocks, and something in between, the modern high tech milled construction going on. That's my pick, and I'm sticking to it. Unless you guys come in the comments and make me regret this episode too.
Do it.
There you are. Thank you for keeping me honest, comments section. Yeah, I'm embarrassed. I could have done better. So hopefully this makes it up to you. All right, we should answer a new question before people get a little upset that I'm not doing a new question. Cadwallader, Cadwallader, 38.
Cat.
None of those were correct, I'm sure. Mr. C. Anderson, I soon will be able to return to my hobby of carving into wood and occasionally getting a final product. I like to do that too. I would like to upgrade my tools though, specifically my knife and big blade I use for chopping small logs. Currently, I have a Mikihisa, it's right here, for what some might consider detail work. I like the self-deprecating humor there, and a K-bar kukri for chopping. I've always wanted the Condor King kukri because it's big and convex, but I know Condor makes hundreds of choppy items. In terms of the smaller knife, I use a Mikihisa, but it has no belly that can be useful. Really, and that can be useful. Really anything between a Mora Eldris and a Condor Bushlore in terms of size, and I don't mind if it comes pre-broken, as in a folding knife, or one piece. All right, sorry for the long question, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I got 2 things for you. I would say if you do want to go with a kukri for the big the bigger chopping things, I would recommend the K-Bar made Becker BK21. You said you had a K-Bar kukri. I'm assuming you're talking about the actual K-Bar brand, smaller kukris, but the Becker, the Reinhardt kukri as this is known, is immensely powerful for heavier chopping. Let's see, I'm trying to remember, I've cut through like standing saplings, like bigger around than my wrist, with one single hit from these things before. It's a dream of a chopper. It is a little bit unwieldy in the way that the best kukris are, and by that I mean you've got that weight, that forward weight canted down. You do have to know how to control it. You already are using a smaller kukri, so I'm not too worried about it, but warning for the other folks out there. The nice things that I like to do with Beckers, especially the bigger choppers, I'll actually take the front bolt off and run a lanyard through that forward bolt hole. So put your, it comes out the back, put your wrist down through the lanyard and then grip the knife. If you drop it, it kind of stays put, which is a really nice thing indeed. Not only is this immensely powerful at heavy chopping, it's also on closeout right now. K-Bar has discontinued this knife, and KnifeCenter kind of bought up everything K-Bar had, and we were able to kind of pass a deal on to you. These used to run about $184. We're selling them for $140 until they're gone. Check it out. Highly recommended if you want a kukri. However, I put that there because you had mentioned you were into kukris, but I might look specifically for your scenario at something like this from Condor. Instead of the King Kukri, the Batanata. This runs about $97 right now. 10-inch blade, 1075 high carbon, so it's very tough. You've got the reach for heavy chopping, and you've got a shape that works like a fro. So not only can you chop the wood you're looking for, if you're looking to section it down into planks or shingles or anything like that, any kind of flat piece to get started working on, batoning through this to get that type of split out of wood is going to be awesomely simple and very satisfying as well. Definitely check that out. Comes with a leather sheath too, so you can take it camping as well if you want. But this has got kind of woodworking, especially kind of modified shop woodworking written all over it. Check it out. Awesome knife as well. For the second part, the Mikihisa, these things are cool. I've got the double beveled version right here, but to me, there can be more comfortable knives for doing the finer wood carving stuff. And I would actually look at something very inexpensive. Going back to our mantra of Mora over really anything, this is my favorite small carver right now and has been for quite a while actually. This is the wood carving basic 3-inch carver. It's $17. You got a short, manageable, narrow blade. I've never really feel like I need anything bigger than this when I'm whittling and wood carving, and unless I'm going for the chopper like that, and you've already got that end of the spectrum taken care of. This thing with its injection molded handle is ergonomic, it's lightweight, so you're not straining too much against the weight of the tool, and the Scandi ground blade there can be razor sharp super easily. The tip is also, I like things with a narrower tip for that small detail work. I don't like a ton of belly, and actually, it's kind of a reverse Tanto, or a reverse Mikihisa blade here on the Mora. The actual tip shape between the two is very, very similar, in fact. Can't go wrong with these. Comes with a nice, again, injection molded sheath, kind of like the Glock there at the beginning. Very easy to take with you, very fun to use. And I would add a third tool, depending on if this sounds like a fun project for you or not, a hook knife. This one is also from Mora. This one, these are a bit more expensive compared to your basic Moras. This is about $45 right now. This is the 164 right-handed hook knife. There are a few different sizes of diameter. There's some that are sharpened on both sides, but these, if you want to make spoons or cups or anything like that, even bowls, gouging out the interior of those things is way easier with something like this than a straight blade. And moreover, above all else, have fun doing what you do, because wood carving is a heck of a lot of fun. Hope that helps. All right, now we come to the Damyr's Buried Treasure segment. We're on the letter L today. Thanks to Damyr's original question, we're going through the alphabet and showing something that's never been shown on the channel today. Letter L, I'm going with LionSteel this time. We've shown plenty of their knives, of course, over the years, but I have never even held this item before. This is their Nyala titanium pen right here. It's about 150 bucks. You've got titanium and carbon fiber. Actually, the way it comes apart is pretty cool. You've got, that's conventional, right? But the sleeve actually slides. You can twist this as you're using the, I almost called it a knife, the pen, so that's kind of fun. Comes with a Fisher Space pen style cartridge right there. Let me throw this back on. Now, what I like about this is, I didn't expect to like. I've pretty much, all I carry anymore is a bolt action pen because I like that they have the convenience of a clicky top, but it's much less likely to accidentally get clicked while it's in your pocket, therefore getting ink all over the things in your pocket. This is a twisty top, and it's like, whatever, twisty top. It's actually really satisfying. It's easy to use one-handed, as you can see right there, which is your big criteria. It's not likely to pop open inside your pocket. And as you release the cartridge, it kind of springs back. It's gonna be hard to get this across visually. Maybe. I really like the way that is doing its thing. You got that, you got a few different colors right now. Obviously it's a premium made item. It's Italian, it's titanium, it's got a lot of moving parts, but I think that's really cool. And I'd never taken a look at it before. And it might've been years before I did if it weren't for Damyr, so thank you for the Buried Treasure segment. All right, now we come to the lightning round for today. Venkat Gasuria. Guys, I've never seen you cover Bokar Sanjo in any of your videos. What's the reason? Here. I could be a smart aleck and say, hey, we're done. We just did. Honestly, dude, no particular reason. I could be a smart aleck again and say because it's a front flipper, and front flippers and I have sort of a complicated relationship, even though that one worked really well right there. But the real reason, despite having it in my hands right now and thinking, hey, this is a pretty cool knife, is there's just so much stuff in our warehouse to be able to show. The Buried Treasure segment is a great reminder of that in a way, because we get to go and look for things specifically that we haven't seen before. But it's very easy to kind of miss something, especially if it's not a runaway sales success or getting a lot of other social media exposure. So I'm using this as an opportunity to reply to folks, not just you, who get offended almost, or they come across as being offended that we haven't talked good about one particular knife they like.
A lot of knives out there, guys.
A lot of knives out there, those guys. But that said, I like this. It's about 120 bucks. It's chunky in a good custom folder type of way. We've got burlap handles, neat shape to it, fills the hand really nicely. Upswept Tanto blade, kind of fat Quaken style, VG10, big aggressive stonewash style finish there with a little bit of darkening, it looks like. I dig it. I could be another smart aleck yet again and say, now you'll never see it again, but who knows? All right, that's it. Only one question for the lightning round for today. Now we come to our final question of the day, which is, of course, our most seriousest question of the day. Anyone who suggests it's not serious, get out of town. Caesar A915. Most serious question. If DCA had to battle Thomas in a knife fight, who would win? Does a Nessmuk really outperform a reverse Tanto? Now guys, Thomas and I may get on each other's nerves now and then. Some weeks it feels like more than now and then, but that's just the human condition. Sit down, have a beer, we'll be all right. Thomas is leaning back right now. You got a beer over there or something?
I'm waiting for you to pick up a knife so I can justify using this camera.
Back to that in a second. I mentioned an alcoholic beverage. Now it must be said, please drink responsibly and legally. We would not suggest anything otherwise. We're not going to get into a knife fight, but does a Nessmuk outperform a reverse Tanto? Well, let's look at this as empirically as we can, at least. I know of one knife, the Pocket Tango. My own design, of course.
Never heard of it.
If you don't know, it is my own design. And it comes with options for a Nessmuk blade and a lamb's foot blade, which some may call a reverse Tanto. I would call this a modified lamb's foot, but for the sake of argument and for the sake of what it says on our website, which is reverse Tanto, outperform. Well, the only way we can judge that is by sales. So I looked it up just before this video, just to see where things stand between the two. And between, if you combine these two blade shapes, excepting the, we're not going to include the sheep's foot in this one, the Nessmuk blade makes up 65.3% of the sales of these two Pocket Tango models. So it's almost 2-to-1 outperforming the reverse Tanto.
So yeah, if you want to be a square, you get the more popular one.
Wow. Okay, fine. It just feels good to be vindicated. Obviously, I like both blade shapes because I designed them both on this particular handle. Didn't design the original, come on. But I designed this knife with two blade shapes. And I like them both, but I really like a Nessmuk. Thank you. Well, that's all. That's all we've got for today.
That was most serious.
That beverage I talked about is sounding really good. We should do something about that. Anyway, that's all we've got for today, folks. Keep your questions coming. If you got any alternate suggestions, drop them below, and I'll try not to mess up another episode so foolishly and so broadly and unequivocally as I did last week.
It's not to say you won't.
But I'll try. Anyway, folks, if you want to get your hands on any, well, wait, before I say that, if you have a question of your own, drop it in the comments below, and perhaps we will be able to include it in a future episode, and to get your hands on any of these knives, including if you want a Nessmuk or a reverse Tanto Pocket Tango, you can get those too. But check out the links in the description to take you to KnifeCenter.com. And don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program so you can earn some free money to spend on a future knife when you pick one of these up today. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera, and we're signing off. See you next time.